love the savings.
In me, and I didn't know how to deal with it because I never had dealt with the issues that were causing the storm.
Personal crises leading to drug abuse and homelessness comes at a cost to all of us.
A News 13 investigation exposes the cost of leaving the homeless on Buncombe County streets versus the cost of getting them into supportive housing.
Tonight, investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert digs into what's driving the costs and what can reduce the impact on everyone.
You feel like you're part of a community when you're in a house or you got some stable living conditions.
Dwight Lassane would know. He just marked a year in his 2-bedroom rental.
And it's been a joy.
A drastic change from the 7 years of chaos living on Asheville's streets.
You go out and you tell people, well, I'm homeless. First thing they say, oh, he's a drunk, he's alcoholic. But it could be something else.
Dwight's struggle goes back decades.
There was always a storm in me, and I didn't know how to deal with it. When I was 15, my mother shot and killed my father in front of the whole family, and I never dealt with it, Through high school, through college, I was very angry, bitter, and I had this attitude with a chip on my shoulder, and it carried on into my adult life.
You got mixed up, was it alcohol, was it drugs?
It was both, and I did it for 40 years. And I would stop for a minute and go back to it because I was never mentally able to say, well, hey, I'm going to do something different.
The fallout, a tidal wave of blows from incarceration to homelessness.
But, I had a drug possession, and it was hard to get housing. Anything that I really needed to help me get up on my feet, my record would come back. It would show up.
Not only impacting Dwight, but the community as well.
Before I really got into this business as a career, I didn't know. I never thought about the cost to the community.
Of Buncombe County's 527 homeless, 230 are considered chronic, meaning they spent more than a year on the streets and are most at risk. The National Alliance to End Homelessness estimates a single homeless individual can cost a community over $35,000 annually. The city of Asheville says that figure is consistent here. It's their contact through crisis services, law enforcement, incarceration, and healthcare costs that cost taxpayers $18.7 million annually.
A lot of that is going to be medical. When you're homeless and outside, you don't have a primary care physician. If you don't feel good, you go to the emergency department.
We have seen the numbers continue to increase year over year for the last at least 5 years or so. Our volume just continues to go up with patients presenting with mental health needs specifically.
While Mission Hospital's behavioral health doesn't track data on homeless served, national averages reveal a single ER visit can amount to $3,700 and escalate to $18,500, with many averaging 5 trips. Cost absorbed by the federal government and the insured.
It's a vicious cycle of my needs aren't met, and I get really sick and unstable, and I present to the emergency department, and I get admitted, and I get stabilized, and I get medication, and then I get discharged, and then I'm back out on the street, and I don't get my medication, and I don't go to my appointments, and I get sicker and sicker and sicker, and then I present back to the emergency department again because they can't get off of this carousel that they're on.
Homeward Bound's Woodfin Apartments proves how permanent supportive housing makes an impact. A study followed 14 residents who'd been arrested and jailed at the Buncombe County Detention Center a year before receiving housing. Those 14 amassed 121 trips to the detention center. After moving into Woodfin Apartments, detention center trips dropped to 42, a 65.3% decrease.
It's a significant amount that just offering that level of stability of folks having a place to go, because a lot of those charges folks were picked up on are just typical charges when you don't have a place to go, like trespassing.
A similar study by A Roof Above in Charlotte uncovered a decrease in ER visits as well.
And it showed an 81% decrease in the first year of emergency department visits of their residents. In the same exact scenario that we're going to be doing here with supportive housing.
Alone, Homeward Bound's Tunnel Road Motel conversion could be a multi-million-dollar impact.
When you look at the fact that we'll house 85 people here, That's close to $3 or $4 million annually that our community won't have to spend on those services for folks. And to operate here a year, it's about $1 million.
While it's a significant impact, it won't eliminate everyone's crisis.
For a lot of our folks who are chronically homeless, it might take 1 or 2 placements even before we find the fit.
Whether that's a home, supportive apartment complex, or converted hotel like the Days Inn and Ramada Inn projects.
And then we figured out a plan to give me permanent housing, which worked out real well for me.
It's put Dwight on a path that's kept him out of the detention center.
You never really care till someone else cares. And we had a lot of people that cared there. And it was a process of where I want to go next.
Giving Dwight a future forecast full of possibilities.
But the community got to chime in too. We got to help our weakest link.
In Asheville.
That's what it's all about, helping each other.
Jennifer Emmert.
You know what I'm saying? We're better together.
News 13.
We are better together, and you can find a further breakdown of pre- and post-placement charges, plus the impact of supportive housing at WLOS.com.